I do believe we are live, Miss Sherry Lilienfeld. It's June 28, 2024, the Down Beach Buzz Podcast with Sherry Lilienfeld, also known as Sustainable Sherry from eXp Realty. Paul Skolich, not here right now, but he's here in spirit. Paul Skolich of Guaranteed Rate. You can find him at rate.com. And thank you to the official HVAC sponsor of the Down Beach Buzz Podcast, Energy SSI, now serving Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Lower Chelsea. Pool heaters and water heaters, AC, Atlanta, air conditioning issues. You just got to go out to energyssi.com, energyssi.com. So, Sherry.
Do you want to put his card up, Mr. Energy SSI?
I don't know if I have it. There we
go.
There
you go. Yep.
You know what? I asked you to be my director today because I have so many things and I'm juggling, but thank you for catching that.
Okay.
All right. I'm excited because we have so much to talk about. It could be the fact that Atlantic City doesn't have any beach concerts this year, and we just found out that the Atlantic City Beer Festival has been canceled because of lack of interest in buying tickets. That's crazy. The air show seems to be on shaky ground a little bit. That's kind of sad. But the good news, Sherry Lilienfeld, just a few days ago, Lance Landgraf of the CRDA, along with the CRDA, they approved the 29th cannabis business for the city of Atlantic City. 29 now. You like that?
Wow. That's crazy.
And it's not just Lance, but he's the guy that kind of has to, sniff around and then get the vote. 29 applications approved. Doesn't mean all 29 will exist, but still. And it's true that, Sherry, you're going to eventually do some gummies before we go live to see how it affects your awesomeness.
I don't know where you got your information from, but I'm not a gummy person. I want to say something about the cannabis business, though. Okay. I was at an EHT commissioners meeting where, they're also giving out permits for these cannabis businesses. And there was an owner of one of the first ones, who made a really good point. She's like, if you have all of these businesses, too many, they're all set to fail because there's only so much business. And I realize people like their gummies or their CBD, whatever. But when you have so many of the same businesses in the same area, none of them are going to do well. So I don't know what they're thinking with all of these approvals. So just wanted to add that. You could take me off the screen now. Thank you.
We like to zoom in on you. Sometimes it's exit full screen.
Uh-huh.
We're juggling a lot of things, and sometimes it's difficult. But every time I hear the word CBD, I sometimes think about the Central Business District in Margate. So that's kind of nutty. Hey, let's just jump into the most important story of the week, and that is you making the front page of the Press of Atlantic City. And tell us, why were you up on the boardwalk? I'm thinking it was something to do with the wind turbines, huh?
Yeah, so many, first of all, so many people, too many people think these wind turbine projects are dead. They are not dead. They are moving ahead quickly. Atlantic Shore South is looking to build 200 wind turbines that are 337 feet bigger than Ocean Casino. When people think this wind turbine project, they're thinking about those 5 little wind turbines that are at the ACUA. Those are 380 feet tall. These are 1,047 feet high. You will see them from 40 miles. In the Atlantic Shores report, they have visibility studies where they say you're going to see all 200 of them from Lucy. So if you're in Margate and you think it's not going to affect us, it is going to affect us. You're going to see them. They create something called infrasound, which is a sound at a frequency that your ears can't hear it, but your body reacts to it. Your cells react. It causes central nervous system issues. But anyway, we were on the boardwalk because what Atlantic Shores is asking, they're asking the DEP to basically unprotect the beach right in front of the beer gardens, right next to Ritz condominiums. Yes.
Oh, Miss Lilienfeld.
Yes.
Intern Zach and Annette said that we have some video to run. It might be more helpful to click on the play button. Can we do that?
I just want to say that these high voltage cables from these 200 wind turbines and their 10 substations, which by the way look like oil rigs, are coming. They want to bring those cables right through the beach and right through Atlantic City, right through Pete Polito Field. Yes, go. You could go.
Zach and Nanette are up my you-know-what. Play the video, they say.
New Jersey residents, regardless of income, race, ethnicity, color, or national origin, have a right to live, work, and recreate in a clean and healthy environment.
When a lot of people start to think about these ocean wind projects, they think that it's green energy, that it's clean energy, that it's free. It's none of those things. Bureau of Ocean Energy Management 2021, ocean wind projects will have little to no impact on global warming or climate change. So the federal government admits that these aren't going to do the very thing that were promised, yet they're pushing them forward anyway.
Building 200 wind turbines in the ocean out there without studying the 5 we've had on land for the past 19 years is like forcing everyone in New Jersey to take a new medicine without a single clinical trial to see if it works or is safe.
We need answers before these projects get built.
This is coming to Atlantic City. They're going to destroy the beaches, tear up the boardwalk, dig up miles and streets of ocean beds, and condemn dozens of parcels of land, including city parks. Pete Polito Field. Our children play there. The skateboards are out there. They enjoy it. The Atlantic City Boathouse and Beta Field. Why? That's all we have left right now.
Wow. We'll run some more of that video, but that was awesome. So Steve Young, an activist from Atlantic City, Mayor Vin Sarah of Brigantine, Seth Grossman from libertyandprosperity.com, and the Seagulls are all in agreement with Seth. It seemed like when Seth was sharing the economic scam of wind turbines and green energy, the Seagulls were going, damn straight, Seth, you keeping it real. That seagull.
There were 2 seagulls and they were like going at it. They just were going crazy. It was kind of funny. It was a sign.
But the quality was still good. Let's play just a few more moments, and we'll have this posted up on DownbeachBUZZ.com. Sherry will have it on her websites, her social media.
Projects are going to be out there. They're going to be roughly the size of the Empire State Building. It will completely industrialize our ocean and destroy everything that's great out there. The wind industry paid Rutgers to do this research, so this is their research, and I quote, "Building arrays of offshore wind turbines off the mid-Atlantic states could have impacts on the annual cycle of the ocean's water temperature that are critical to the region's fish and shellfish habitat."
Wow, this video is great. This is the first time I'm watching it, but it's really well done. I think in the background, I actually saw the former business admin for Margate, Mr. Ken Mosca, who's now working for Atlantic Shores as their streets, man on the street guy, keeping the tentacles out there. So congratulations to Ken Mosca with his new job working for Atlantic Shores Wind. Great video though, Cher, huh?
Yeah.
Is that all you could say? I think it's awesome. What?
No, it is. Me, I'm always looking at the things that we could improve. And
oh, you mean the one where they got you? Well, I don't think. Like, he couldn't.
It's not fair.
Why did he use that? Why did he use that still?
I don't know. Yes.
Hey, no, listen. Anybody at any time can have a weird angle. So, you're naturally beautiful, but this is a very rare photo catching you maybe looking a little perturbed.
All right. I think I was getting annoyed by the seagulls that were being a little bit loud. All right, keep rolling. Come on,
I'm sure you've had I know. Wait. That was pretty damn good, though.
To do this research, so this is their research, and I quote, "Building arrays of offshore wind turbines off the mid-Atlantic states could have impacts on the annual cycle of the ocean's water temperature that are critical to the region's fish and shellfish habitat." So they're promising all of these jobs, and at the same time, they're destroying a lot of the jobs that are here today. And we need to stand up and fight to protect our fishermen, to protect their jobs, and to protect our planet. These wind turbines are visible for 40 miles.
We'll keep it there, but that's damn awesome. Great job, Sustainable. You and a team of other folks put this together, and it was perfect right in front of the Ritz condominium, a place that's going to be affected by this massive upheaval of land and property to lay cables. My biggest concern, Sustainable Sherry, is laying these cables just 40 feet, 90 feet under the beach through the neighborhoods. I'm thinking about sinkholes and water levels and water tables. That just sounds precarious and dangerous because of the electromagnetic fields that you really don't want to be laying anywhere near for a prolonged period of time, huh?
Yeah, well, first of all, they talk about they're going to be 40 feet under. They're not going to be 40 feet under because the utility vaults right next to the Ritz condominiums, the maximum depth, the utility vaults is where all these cables are stored and there's switch gear and all their instrumentation. The maximum depth of those utility vaults is 14.8 feet, okay? And they're about a foot of concrete all around, and then you're going to have your cables. These cables are going to be probably 6 feet from the surface, and they are 12 to 16 inches wide. They're not like little cables. They're not like little cables like for your cable service, for example. These are massive cables. They go up to 525,000 volts. That's a lot of voltage. Okay. So they're not little cables. They're not something like we've experienced before. And they're going to be running through the town, through our fields, through the ballpark. So yeah. Anyway, the people in the Ritz condominiums really need to wake up because that parking lot right next to it is owned by Atlantic Shores and is going to become a construction site. It's a staging area for all of their equipment. It's where they're going to be drilling the tunnels for the cables. So
do a quick run through. The map is here. We don't have much more time, but this whole diversion thing, tell us about it.
So basically what the diversion is, there's protected land, protected under what's called the Green Acres program, where it's parkland, where you're not supposed to build on it. So the protected land that they are asking for a diversion from is on the bottom right. That's the skinny little blue lines. Those are the lots that come in from the beach, right under the boardwalk, right into Atlantic City. That's protected land, beach land, right by the boardwalk. They want to unprotect that so they can run their cables through it. The second piece of land is the one in the middle, underneath the big, that's Pete Polito Field and the boathouse. That's protected land. They want to unprotect that because they're going to run 2 massive lines of cables through that. Then they want a piece of Bader Field, and they want to run their cables under that. And then they're going to run it all the way up the Blackhurst Pike. The cable's going to run 13 miles all the way up to EHT, under roads, by houses, through neighborhoods. The cables are going to run through the whole neighborhood of Atlantic City in between those. And then in exchange, you're saying, okay, unprotect this land, and in exchange, protect this other land. That's the compensation land on the left side. They're basically saying, protect this swampland, this wetlands that you can't do anything on anyway, in exchange for beach and parkland. It's supposed to be an exchange of equal or greater value.
Okay.
I don't know what definition you're using. I don't care what some appraiser they had come up with all these numbers saying that exchange is equal or better. To take land that no one is going to do anything on anyway and put this false protection on, it's already protected by the fact that you can't build on it, it's wetlands, and unprotect all this other land, the beach, part of Bader Field, Pete Polito Field, right by the AC Boathouse. It honestly, it's insulting, but what's more insulting is people are like listening and bobbing their head like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Really? Like, speak up. People need to speak up.
Sure. This is the reason why people in power don't want live Zoom video of these meetings, because if people truly knew what was being discussed and decided, they'd be beside themselves. So, I mean, at the city council meeting at Atlantic City a few nights ago for the anti-wind thing, or the wind whatever from Atlantic Shores, There was no inner city people there. There was nobody there, and because they're not being told, and
they don't understand what's going to happen is, their streets are going to start getting ripped up. These massive cables, and they had a plan, like the streets all through the city, like 8-12 weeks, they're going to be ripped up, diverting traffic. These cables are going to be put down. But the interesting thing is, if you read their Atlantic Shore's application, which I did, the easement that they're asking for, they could say they could build this stuff on top of it. They can actually, even though they're saying they're going to put it underground and they're going to cover it up and everything's going to be fine, their easement says they can build on top if they want. They can have an easement and put these high voltage cables on top if, let's say there's a problem.
Shara, I want to go to the next topic, which should calm everybody down, make it more peaceful and tranquil. I'd like to kind of transition to a more uplifting story where we can smile and relax a bit. Can we do that?
Yeah, let's see what this story is. I can't wait.
It's the Down Beach Buzz podcast for June 28, 2024, with Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty, a.k.a. Sustainable Sherry. Paul Scolich, he's a sponsor from Guaranteed Rate and the official HVAC sponsor of the podcast, EnergySSI.com. And I am your humble correspondent. We have our interns, Nanette, nice job, and Zach, you are the man. Zach's coming along. It's a little difficult. He has some problems with making coffee and making copies. So, like I said, I wanted. Did you like that? I know I don't pay him much, but selective enforcement, much like how they're making their own rules in Atlantic City and the county in regards to cable and wind, it happens at the local level. So, and some of this stuff that I'm seeing and hearing, because very few people know what's going on at City Hall, and they don't do live video of the meetings, the planning board meetings, school board meetings, commissioners meetings. We don't know what my main man, Big Tom Collins, is up to, and his son, Mike Collins. So this segment is called Selective Enforcement of Margate Zoning Law. Let me give you some examples of what I mean by this. My good friend, not yet, but pretty soon, he'll be inviting me to his parties. Stephen Baglivo is a very successful developer here in Margate. He keeps on getting stop work orders. This one, the one we're seeing here, let me just zoom out and we can get a better picture of it. But this was given to Mr. Baglivo on June 24, 2024, just a few days ago, on his property at 9710 Ventnor Avenue. That's the Margate Gardens Complex, which is a mixture of 6 or 12 units and some commercial. Well, Mr. Baglivo, from what we understand, he was trying to use a space on the second level that's supposed to be just for storage, according to permitting and what the planning board said he could do. He decided he wanted to expand the business side of the tenant from down below, putting up staircases. He got caught. This is what I understand. Mr. Baglivo got caught. Our good friend, I think, Roger McLarnon, you would assume went out there and slapped this sticker on it. And then I got the word that he may have ripped it down. And another stop work order had to happen. But this is just, I'm almost in awe of Mr. Baglivo because how he gets away with it. I always say, man, they are covering for this guy, this aggressive developer, but it's dangerous. And let's go to the next dangerous situation here. These are adults on a beach block in Margate on Pembroke or Penrose, or I'm sorry, Pembroke, right? I'm sure. Yeah. And they walk by, they say, hey, let's go in, check it out. You know how dangerous that is to enter a site under construction? Holy geez. And I just thought the city council and the planning board would start talking about it, saying, guys, we know you secured this site, but maybe you got to up the security and put chain link locks on it and stuff like that. These are adults walking through. So there's insurance issues. Even a couple of weeks ago when Mr. Galantino, the code enforcement guy, he fell down an elevator shaft. No one seems to be talking about why did that happen? How did that happen? Who's at fault? I'm not trying to point fingers, but we ignore some really big safety issues. And Margate's all about development. Was it 60 permits in the first half of the year, Cher, that Margate gave out or received applications for?
69. Yeah.
So the whole island is construction. Now, these are adults breaking into a site. Imagine how many kids think, hey, that'd be cool to go see what's going on in there. If Mr. Galantino, code enforcement guy from Margate, the 30-year veteran of being a code enforcement, one of the best, how did he fall down an elevator shaft? How did that happen? No one's talking about it.
Well, apparently the elevator shafts are you're supposed to have them blocked off. Lucky for Jim, he only fell one level. And a lot of times in those shafts, there's a lot of debris, including nails and stuff. Like, he got really lucky, even though, I think he realizes he was lucky, because it could have been so much worse. But this particular point, like, people see a new construction site and they think it's okay to just kind of let themselves in and, take a tour. Yes, it's very dangerous. It's private property. That's actually called trespassing.
Yeah. These are adults. These are adults that look like they're in their 50s, low 60s. They're not kids,
They just wanted to see, let's see the new construction,
So you can see why I get a little perturbed when I know that a developer is opening a hole in the second level to build a staircase so that he can expand a business illegally, even with a stop work order. Mr. Baglivo putting a hole in the second floor and creating a set of steps with no permitting. How did that happen? And why is that still happening? And are the payments for the fines, are the fines being documented? Are the fines being documented from the tequila wine bar?
Well,
did that $2,000 come in yet?
Unfortunately, there's many that have the attitude it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in a lot of industries. It's not just the building industry. The chemical industry used to pollute the air, and instead of cleaning up their plants, they would just pay the fines to the EPA because it's cheaper and easier, and write a check and be done with it.
And your thoughts on this, Cher? Gee,
Well, they did go to zoning again. They're supposed to be making better allocations for the trash against that blue building, because before there wasn't. So that's all I'll comment. I'm glad they're making accommodations for the trash. I'm glad they went back to zoning.
Is it normal to have 99% lot coverage? That seems to be problematic to a lot of folks with knowledge in this area.
Yes, that's the problem for many aspects. There's not a lot of distance between. You could see it. You could see the blue house over there, the blue building. There's not a lot of distance. When you're 100% lot coverage, that's a problem. Number two is, we always talk about the pervious space and having drainage and issues around you. So again, you're going to have areas, you're going to have all your runoff go to your neighbors. There's just a lot of issue with 100% lot coverage. But
it's also, let me tell you, God bless them. There's a handful of people that get special waivers on stuff. They say they follow the rules, but they don't, obviously. I want to be honest with you, Sherry. I want to be a part of that crew one time so that I can enjoy the benefits of being an insider. Because this stuff is so over the top and egregious, and we all know who's doing this stuff. It's the same names, same people. But there's so few voters in Margate and Ventnor and Longport. And a lot of the big decisions are made in the off season when no one's around, and you have no voting rights as a second homeowner. You can do whatever you want. Shame on you, especially when people start getting hurt. And for Jim Galantino to get hurt, that's proof that even the best people could almost get killed because we're being a little fast and loose with good safety measures, Miss Lilienfeld.
Yeah, and then to your point that you've made before about our commissioners meeting and our planning meeting, they're not live Zoom. We're people who aren't here but pay taxes here. And look, the second homeowners pay a lot of taxes because they have, in general, the homes that are closer to the beach and the higher values. Like, they're paying a lot in taxes. They should at least have the opportunity to comment at the planning board meetings and at the commissioners meetings. And I think it's just not right that they don't. So
even
up.
Atlantic City has a great live video Zoom feed of their council meetings, and then you can watch it later on. You can actually rewind them in real time. You can actually remotely public comment. This is Atlantic City. That's more transparent than Margate. Let that sink in. Atlantic City council meetings are more transparent than the city of Margate, who has crappy audio and no video. So you don't know who's really saying what. And sometimes it gets up on YouTube. Shame on those who know, especially my good friend, the TikTok mayor. Anyway.
TikTok mayor?
Yeah, it's Mike Collins. He believes that.
Better news on TikTok. Yeah.
Speaking of
talking about?
Speaking of somebody, and I can't blame Mr. Ventura, I guess. I never met him, but I hear he's a great guy. Can't blame him for pushing the envelope. But it is illegal without CAFRA permitting, New Jersey DEP permit acceptance, to build and operate a business on the beach. But for the past, 4 years, it's been going on. God bless him.
Yeah.
It's an awesome place. It's great. It was built when COVID kicked in, but I got some. He's still just paying the fines for doing this, because of the good cost of doing business. But he's still operating this, and the city's looking the other way. So just to refresh your memory, so it's a great place right there on the beach, and it's not easy getting the ability from the state, from CAFRA, DEP, to build bars and restaurants and attractions on the beach. Ventnor, they couldn't even put together a portable stage behind the library on the beach, which is not even on the beach. It's just a sandy area. It's not even near the oceanfront beach. CAFRA wouldn't let them do it, so they had to put the stage on the asphalt at the location where we have those great concerts. So Ventnor, how did Margate? Let's play a little video. Here we go. You'll enjoy this. Sherry, I don't know about you, but if I bought a $1 million condo on the beach in Margate, wanted to enjoy the Sunday afternoon, this is a bonus, I would assume, to most people who are homeowners in the beautiful city of Margate.
The entertainment. Yeah, that place gets really crowded. I've been in the restaurant part when, that was really crowded, and all I hear is like, these kids don't really have a place to go to the bathroom. Like their bathroom, there's usually a line like out to the street for them to go to the bathroom too.
But wouldn't it be great if everybody could do stuff like this? Because it seems like for a small fine to the DEP, I would start building all kinds of stuff along the beach. And my good friend, John Amadeo, former councilman here in Margate, 2 years ago, he said something to the effect of, as far as I know, this is Margate Commissioner John Amadeo back in the day. He said, Ventura's has a permit to be out there. Otherwise, the DEP would shut him down. I don't know about that. But it's not just Mr. Amadeo. My good friend Maurice. I love his name.
Maury.
Well, his real name is
probably Maurice. Yeah.
No, it is. It's Maurice. Some people call him Maurice. So Maury Blumberg, the commissioner in Margate for Revenue and Finance, doesn't really do much, but the title looks pretty cool on his business card, Revenue and Finance. Always kept out of the loop. You're not quite sure about that gas station purchase for $2.3 million, but as a Revenue and Finance guy, I'm sure he'll get to it. But anyway, Maury says he vigorously defends Ventura's party deck. Blumberg was unaware of DEP violations and a fine. He's unable to provide proof of permitting. This is 2 years ago. He's been fined for the past couple of years, if I'm not mistaken. And how do I know that? Shall we go to May 31, 2024? Y'all set there, Sustainable?
Yeah.
Maybe you're not, but that's okay.
May 31. That was only not too long ago, a month ago.
Let me zoom in a little bit. So this was May 31st, 2024, from the state of New Jersey, from the DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, under the tutelage of Philip D. Murphy, our esteemed governor. So it was addressed to Louis D. Ventura in Margate, and it was all about a demand for stipulated penalties and an invoice for penalties. This is just for a few months. Mr. D. Ventura, this letter serves as notice that pursuant to paragraph blah, blah, blah,
Blah, blah, blah.
that it demands payment of penalties for your failure to comply with the ACO. And the ACO is the Administrative Consent Order. And pursuant to blah, 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 within 45 days, you got to pay this because you're doing stuff. You're attempting to legalize the structures on site or you got to remove the unauthorized structure from the site. The Coastal General Permit, that's CAFRA, on July 12, 2023, last summer, through an application. It was received, but subsequently on November 16, 2023, the same CAFRA application was withdrawn by the applicant. That's interesting. So let me just read the next one and get right to the point here. On February 20, 2024, you were issued an ACO compliance warning letter, see attached. It said you're required to immediately comply with the terms of the ACO you entered in. Failure to comply within 30 days, more enforcement action. And Feb 26, 2024, the esteemed attorney, Eric Goldstein, he's representing, I guess, the Mr. D. Ventura. He responded and stating that pursuant to your correspondence of Feb 20, my client will be resubmitting the CAFRA application to continue its attempt to legalize these structures on site, and we will request DEP to issue a formal decision on the application. On April 17, 2024, a compliance evaluation found that the unauthorized structures cited in the ACO remaining on site in preparation for the coming 2024 tourism season. In addition to this date, no new CAFRA applications have been submitted to DLRP as stated by your legal counsel. So it was this bill was I think 26 grand.
No, it's on the bottom, 28,100. It's in bold. Total stipulated penalties, 28,100. And again, it's a case.
Listen, this is just April and May, March, April, and May. That's all that is.
Case of asking for forgiveness instead of permission. Good question why they withdrew their CAFRA permit. That's very interesting.
And like I said, Ventnor, all these towns, they got to go through hell to get permission to do anything anywhere near a grain of sand. But there's something bad going on here, and it has to do with some other people. But I really do wish that Senator Vince Palestina would step in. Mr. Amadeo, step in. He has knowledge here. But you can't let this keep going on. And that is why they don't provide live video of the planning board meetings. They don't want you to see who's talking about this nonsense. Oh, and one more point about legal notices. There's still, do you know, when the city of Margate or Ventnor, when they open up the council meetings, they say, yes, we are now in compliance with the Open Public Records Act. We posted all the legal notices in the Press of Atlantic City, the Newark Star Ledger, Camden County Courier Times, all these papers that nobody reads. But by law, it is legal when they post it in those publications. But and they post it in the office, up on the website. But you know what they won't do, Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP Realty, aka Sustainable Sherry? Do you know what they also do? They will not actually do the simplest and easiest, having an email blast of legal notices. Hey, subscribe to the Margate Legal Notice email newsletter, and anytime there's a legal notice, you'll be notified. They won't do that because it's free and it's easy. They won't do it, but they'll claim, well, we've got to do what they say in Trenton. No, they're not being very.
Trenton, I think really where the change needs to be is in Trenton about how these legal notices are made, because people communicate differently, right? They used to get subscriptions to these papers and read them. And unfortunately, they don't. They get everything off their cell phone. Honestly, the change needs to be made in Trenton where they're telling them how their legal notices should be made. So I mean, I get it. The city's doing what they're required and not any more than what they're required. And, so that's not really on them, even though if they really wanted to get input from the people in the community who pay taxes, they could do more. They don't have to just do the minimum. They could do more, but they don't. But change needs to be made in Trenton for these legal notifications. It is a joke. It's the same way Atlantic Shore's making their legal notice by having some small billboard in the dunes that no one even understands. It's in, I call it planning board jargon. These lots and these lots are going to be exchanged for these lots. If you want to learn more, look at our QR code. And no one knows what it means. It's really a joke, the whole notification process. It's not informative. It's a checklist item.
And listen, Open Public Records Act, that's the OPRA, Open Public Records Act, made it easier to have a citizen request documentation, email, votes, all of that stuff. It's been very helpful to keep everybody kind of on the up and up. But a few weeks ago, Senator Vince Palestina, he was going to vote against any changes, keep it as is. But then all of a sudden he pulled back. He became neutral. And that was very disappointing. Palestina does not want, it seems, tell me if I'm wrong, he doesn't want people to see what's going on, who's getting voted in for contracts, or who's making one decision over another. Oprah did a lot of help. You could call, you could email, you can request information. Hey, who's getting paid what? All those things are so important. But Mr. Palestina, very disappointed that you did not defend the Oprah. You recused yourself. That's just as bad as saying, go ahead, gut the Oprah thing. It's bad. It's bad news, and I will continue to talk about that because that's my job, is to make sure you defend the citizenry, the people that voted you in, my friend. Let's see here. And once again, congratulations to Super Chris Brown, former Senator Chris Brown, who stepped down early to take a $150,000 job from Governor Murphy. Governor Murphy was a good, sweet deal. He shows up at a couple of CRDA meetings with a good friend, Vince, it's Lance Landgraf, the former mayor of Ventnor, who works full-time for the CRDA, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority. Lance, just a few days ago, very proud to announce that Atlantic City and the CRDA, through his office, Land and Planning and Zoning for the CRDA Tourism District, he just green-lighted the 29th cannabis business for Atlantic City, Sherry. 29, baby. Jeez. It's a lot of people going to be stoned. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be 29 businesses, but there's been applications approved, and it has to jump through all kinds of hoops. So I don't want to be too tough. But these are two Ventnor guys, and one guy decided to step down early from being the mayor. Jeez. And Super Chris Brown is the liaison. It's kind of crazy. You don't see Republicans stepping down early from a senator seat and then taking a $150 job, $150,000 job to report directly to Phil Murphy, a Democrat. That's kind of, I don't know, I guess reaching across the aisle, they call it. But Super Chris Brown, because he's been very helpful in what? We're not quite sure yet. Okay. Was that too much?
I'm not commenting.
Oh, I got more.
I'm not commenting.
Wait, just sit there and look pretty. And that's my good.
Commenting.
So I'm not sure if you're aware of what the WTF letters stand for, but on the right, you see Senator Palestina pretty angry with the bullhorn. And who is he pointing that bullhorn at? Our good friend George Norcross, who's nice and cozy with Mr. Denny Levinson. A nice photo from NJ Globe, NewJerseyGlobe.com. That's a creepy photo right there. We all know what happened to Mr. Norcross a few days ago, but it looks like he's a little too chummy with my good friend Denny Levinson. You know, it's a little too close. No comment.
You have a lot of pictures with Norcross and Levinson, don't you?
Because these guys, you always thought for years that they were always on the side of the little guy. But then, come on, look what happened to George. Maybe it's alleged that George is running some kind of whatever.
Show your next picture. Show your next picture.
I'm sure it's going to get better. Where is it?
Let's
All right,
go.
here we go. I like this one. Now,
See?
first off, George is
He
the
always
only
has his
one.
arm around him. Yeah.
George has no mustache. I appreciate that. We're the other two guys. So on the far right is Mr. Formica, Frank Formica. I love Frank. And in the middle, once again, way too chummy with George Norcross. That's Mr. Denny Levinson, the Atlantic County Commissioner, the executive, the county executive, who, you know, if you listen to everything he writes or talks about in regards to offshore wind, you can't freaking tell which side he's on. That's why he's a good politician.
He's not taking a side.
And that means he's okay. That means he's okay with
Yeah.
wind and the industrialization of our waters, which are going to be 5 miles offshore. Don't trust anything about, hey, how far offshore they would be. You know why? Because it's a financial concern. The closer to the shore, the cheaper the project. It's too expensive to be too far out. So that's complete bull. So Denny, you were such a great guy, but you've fallen on the dark side. You look at George. Oh, jeez, I can't stand it. First off, what are you guys eating? What the hell are you eating?
I just really want to know where you get your pictures from. You must spend a lot of time creeping on the web. Like, what are you doing?
Let me tell you, you know how these get sent around everywhere because these knuckleheads love taking pictures and popping them on their social media. So I don't have a paparazzi crew necessarily. So as we come to a close here, Sherry Lilienfeld, I like that you did bring up some good questions about this property, the gas station being possibly purchased by the city of Margate for about $2.3 million and then being converted into a parking lot. Of course, the director of revenue and finance, the commissioner, Mr. Maurice Blumberg, he was unaware of this, but hopefully he's a little bit sharper on it now. My question to you, Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP Realty, aka Sustainable Sherry with a chemical engineering background, knowing this is a contaminated site, is this parking lot, if it actually proceeds, will the parking lot owned by the city of Margate, will it have an attendant? Will it be metered parking? Will it be by permit only? Nobody brought that up yet. What are your thoughts? Will it be a double decker? Because technically, I bet it could be a double decker.
Well, they said that it can get about 30 spots to it, which is actually a decent number, 30 parking spots. I think a double decker makes the most sense, like when you see in New York, because, you know, they have real estate is of high premium in New York as well, and parking is in great need. So they do these elevator things with the cars. I don't know how they do it. So if they do that, they will need an attendant. I don't think they've thought through that far yet. I did ask.
But they should, though. They should be, though. They should be kind of looking ahead. Wait. Let me get to the most important point.
Okay.
Is it going to be by permit that you can have your car there? Is it a pay per hour, like a parking meter? They haven't discussed that.
No, it's like for public parking. It's for public parking for people to utilize retail.
Is that a fact that it's going to be wide open? People can park their car and walk away? Is that what you're saying?
That's the impression I got. Yeah.
Okay, impression, but so it's not been documented yet. It hasn't been documented.
Not to my knowledge. It could be somewhere, but not to my knowledge.
Well, let's see, as a Margate taxpayer, should you be aware of what that game plan is?
Yes, since they're spending tax money. They are getting apparently $1 million grant of the $2.3 million. So then it's $1.3 million.
I'm sorry, was that what was that word? Apparently, you said?
Well, you know, it's not done until it's done, right?
That's like you saying it's an asking price of $2.3 million. Asking? What does that mean? Listen. All I'm saying is this:
it's done until the money exchanges and the deeds transfer and all that. And I do want to also say Exxon is the one who is responsible for cleaning up this site. That's what they did tell me, that they are responsible for the cleanup, which is good because they're deep pockets. So hopefully they'll follow through and clean up. Any other questions?
No, not questions. I'm going to poke at you. So you do recall prior to remember Johnny's Cafe, Johnny's parking lot, and it sat there for a while and they tried to figure out what to do with it. Then it went up for sheriff's sale. Somebody could have bought that beautiful, perfect lot for about $700,000, $800,000.
Mm-hmm.
No. So my point is, before the actual sheriff's sale, they did put some automated parking stuff there to have people pay to use that. I think that was a complete bust. First off, it didn't work. It seemed like it had problems all the time. And I always saw it as an empty parking lot. My point is, why is Margate spending at least $2.3 million for a prime piece of land that's currently contaminated? Why are they so fired up about grabbing that and not being open about how do they plan on monetizing that when it could be maybe sold to a private person to run a parking lot? Why all of a sudden, Mr. Collins, who's a superior operator of a hardware store, but when it comes to running a municipal business, not good, because why does he want to buy a contaminated gas station and run a parking lot? Even if it's a freebie parking lot, wouldn't taxpayers be ticked off knowing, why am I subsidizing for 30 people to put their cars there? It's the most stupid idea. I'm telling you, put it on the record, Sherry. Take this down. 6/28, June 28, 2024, 12:28 p.m. The host of this program, who has still not discussed what his name is. Thank you. But as you can see, I told you this was going to be the one show we can get it all off our chest. But listen, I make some good points here. What's the game plan for this thing? But you're soft and meek and mild.
Well, I look. Anytime a project comes to zoning in this area, the issue of parking comes up again and again and again and again. So I don't know, maybe there'll be certain spots allocated to certain businesses. I just think they're so tired of hearing about it in the planning board meetings that they say, well, maybe we should do something about it. It does come up a lot. So
will it solve the parking problem in Margate for the 15 weekends of summer?
Well, so there's the other issue of the other side of town. As you know, Margate has two business districts. There's the side of town with Castles, the north side, and then there's the south side where Wawa is and Johnny's. And so we really need two parking lots.
Well, maybe three.
Maybe three. I asked him, are you going to start, and then there's the area by Stephen Cookies and all that. I said, I have heard shuttle service or what?
I heard the rumor that Steve Baglivo is going to donate a few parking spots in his lot there at Margate Gardens Complex. So I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know if you're serious or making this up.
He seems that, but it's a joke.
Wait, are you being serious?
No, I'm not being serious. But he does have problems figuring out how many parking spaces legally he must provide to his tenants. He can't figure that. He can't count how many units are in his place, and he doesn't know how many bathrooms or kitchen cabinets were pulled out or pulled in.
How many water heaters and
he doesn't realize that we call the post office and say, hey, how many mailboxes do you deliver to at the Margate Gardens? 12, but 12 and 6. It's a very close number. It's easy to get that mixed up. It really is. It really is.
All right. I would say
I love him.
I'm telling you. Anything.
He's got cojones though. There's something about me that likes him because he gets away with this. Then I look at all the people.
Confident. He's very confident.
But you know what? If the Margate taxpayers are okay with it and they want to subsidize his nonsense, I say go for it because it makes for good podcast material. Otherwise, I wouldn't. What would I do with myself if I couldn't beat up on developers who, they interpret law in a very special way?
Okay.
You like the way I said that?
Yes. You do realize the way I make my bread and butter is through real estate. So I'm not getting involved in this.
No, I understand that. And that's why I look out for people that are commercial businesses operating in a residential neighborhood, Airbnb, for example, making sure the property is up to snuff, safety codes are adhered to. We don't want anybody to get hurt. And if you see exposed rebar all over the place on the underside of a second, because no matter how many times you report it, the point is, I don't think the towns have enough inspectors. And if I'm not mistaken, Margate is looking for a replacement, a part-time temporary replacement for Jim Galantino as he rehabs and he gets better from his elevator shaft fall. But when I see stuff like this, I believe that another Sea Isle City could happen, or what happened in Florida could happen. This is pretty egregious stuff. And we truly don't even know how many short-term rentals we have in Margate or Ventnor. Not specifically. There's no way. But,
enforcement is very challenging, having the staff to check on things. That's why, and I say this all the time, you need the eyes and ears of the people. That we get so many people walking in the streets, riding their bikes. You see something, you need to call the city and let them know. Just like what we do with the microplastics contamination. The way that the city mostly knows about contamination problem is when citizens call in and say, hey, I was by this work site and they're sawing these plastics and all this, it looked like it snowed at their work site. There's all this white particles all over the place. Can you please go there and tell them they need to contain this stuff? People need to speak up. People need to make the phone calls. If you see something, you need to help the city do a better job with the enforcement. Everybody has a role.
Is there anything else sustainable, Sherry? There probably is.
My listing.
Whoops.
Your listing. Whoops. Yep.
All right. This is the grand finale of this program. We got caught up in all kinds of other stuff. So let's do something to put some money in Sherry's pocket. Come on.
Oh, stop. Don't say it like that. That's terrible.
It's not easy being a realtor. I love talking about real estate, but I would not want to have to do what you go through. It's tough. Everybody thinks it's all glamorous and easy, the real estate business, but
drive people around, showing them houses when they're tired of HGTV, get their tours. Yeah.
Are you all set? You all set? Here we go.
Set. So this property is 105 South Essex. Going to get to zoom in on it. It was built by Pirano in 2019. The client, one owner moved in 2020. Really nice upgrades. The client replaced all the light fixtures, made some upgrades like the closets, put in a water defense system, which is a leak protection system. It has Wolf and Sub-Zero appliance package. That's the 4-stop elevator. It goes all the way from the ground floor to the master bedroom suite on the top floor. Just really nice upgrades. And what's really nice, like normally when you look at the beach, it's at nighttime, it's just a black ocean. But this is up the street from the Margate pier. So at nighttime, it's actually really pretty to look at it because the pier's lit up and it's very pretty. There's the Margate pier. It's very pretty during the day and at night. Two cars parking off street and a detached garage for parking. Also, the backyard is enclosed for those people that have dogs and want to keep them in the backyard. And it's just a really, really pretty house. Oh, and if you like to go to Roberts, it's up the street from Roberts. You can have your dinner at Roberts and a few drinks and then walk home to the house. It's close to castles.
Is that crawl home from Roberts? Because that's a party. That's a good time party place.
Yeah, a lot of people like to party. But there's the Margate Pier. It's just so pretty over there. It's just a really pretty spot on the beach in Margate. So, so it's 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, and the asking price is $4,450,000, 4.45. Again, it's beach block. It's fairly new construction with some upgrades from the current owner. And if you want to see it, just call me at 609-287-1795. It's listing broker company only, so I do have to be there when you go through. And yeah, it's a beautiful home. All right, you
Okay.
can get me off the screen again. I
No,
can't.
I'm doing that because I'm bringing up the next slide, which I had to do.
Okay.
And you finished there. So
I
there's
hate
more
when
of
you
you
do that.
there. All right. So this is just the recap. And we got some great stories here. Leonard Skinner, they're in town tonight at Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. Margate Beach Stock is tomorrow. That's a big
Tomorrow.
one. That's
Yeah.
a great annual event. We have all our beach concerts and the events right here on the front page at DownbeachBUZZ.com. When you open up, you'll see the whole schedule. Maybe you're interested in Jimmy Buffett and the Parrot Beach Tribute, Saturday, June 29. Of course, that is tomorrow. All the details are right there. Newport Avenue Beach in Ventnor, right there, right behind the library. And don't forget, every Sunday, Run for Their Lives every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. Getting the hostages, come and get them back from Gaza. It's been too long. Run for their lives.
Crazy.
Other stories, of course, don't forget, we have to say thank you to Barbara Capozzi of Renaissance Estates. Great homes that she developed and built, now on sale. Just a few remaining in South Philly. You'll love it. Just an hour from South Philly, directly to the shore. God, it's the best. Renaissance Estates. Reach out to Barbara. Paul Scollage, of course. And we have the videos of Sherry's Boardwalk. Well, of course, Sherry's a big part of it. The Boardwalk press conference, Make the Best of It bash against Melanoma, Tara Miller. That's actually tomorrow night. No, that's actually tonight. So that's a big one. The Candy Lab, if you have a party, you have kids need something interesting to do, call the Candy Lab. Wow, they have this edible artwork party. Your kids will love it. You can have it done with candies or vegetables. The Candy Lab, go check them out. Gilchrist as well. Pickle Juice, Pickleball Club, Doggy Beach Boutique. Could you imagine an ice cream bar and boutique for your doggy right there on Ventnor Avenue, 7315? Do we get everything in, Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty?
I think we got a lot in. It was 56 minutes. We're at 56 minutes, almost an hour. I think people had enough of us this morning.
Yeah, but so that was a lot of, and there's a lot of other news stories that are out there. Of course, the issue with the water park, Bart Blatstein's water park at the Showboat. It looks like he might owe about $7-8 million to contractors who did not get paid yet. Could be even
no,
higher
not
number.
another Atlantic City contractor who does that. No, developer. No.
And just a final point: no beach concerts in Atlantic City. How did that happen? Wildwood just finished their Barefoot Country concert. Huge sellout, huge. Everybody goes to the Wildwood concert. We can't do that in Atlantic City. The air show, it's on shaky ground is what they say. And the Atlantic City beer show canceled due to lack of interest. No ticket sales. That used to be the biggest of the biggest shows.
People used to like. I just want to say something about the air show. The air show generates over $60 million in revenue for Atlantic City. If that's not happening, that is really sad. That's one of my favorite events, the Atlantic City Air Show. I just hope that they get it together. But of course, once they have wind turbines out there, they will not be able to do the air show.
I wonder, how true is that?
That's true. There's actually up in New York, the wind turbines are in the flight path of JFK, some of them, and there's a big problem with that. Like, yes, it's a public safety issue. It's you can't have it. Those wind turbines are, like I said, 337 feet higher than Ocean Casino, and there's going to be hundreds of them. How are you going to have a safe air show? It's not going to happen. That's
not being discussed. Yeah, that's not being talked about at all.
Well, you got some people are talking about it when you are on a lot of Facebook pages about these, that it comes up. But yeah, it's over 60 million in revenue from the air show. It's a problem. National safety is an issue because, again, you have all these wind turbines. It's a problem for the Coast Guard doing their search and rescues. It is a big problem on many levels. So it's not just about, the views are going to be ruined. It's not just about the whales. There are so many other issues that are there that are not talked about and in the media. All you hear about is, X amount of gigawatts of energy and 700, million homes or whatever it is, whatever their number is. So anyway, Just wanted
Yeah,
to say that about the air
yeah.
show. I love the air show, and if it doesn't come, I mean, that's sad. That's really sad.
All right, Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP Realty. That was a great one. That's a full 60 minutes of awesomeness. And we will, anything else, I could say goodbye, and you could find you at exp.apexprime.com, right?
Yep.
All
Thank
right,
you.
let's
Have a
turn this
great
thing
day.
off.
Have a great weekend, 4th of July weekend.